Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 20th day of November. Excuse me. Hopefully, I'll have the Mad New Yorker come in here shortly. I'm sure he's close by. Going to talk the five biggest games in the NFL Week 12. We're 1 week away from Thanksgiving. We'll have three big games on Thanksgiving. But we'll talk the five biggest games this particular week and get the Mad New Yorker's opinion when he comes in on James Franklin, and of course Shador Sanders getting the first start this week. So step by, we'll take our first and only break, and I'll be back here momentarily. And while I'm hitting all kinds of wrong buttons, we will hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
Hello. What's Hello, what's up? Hello? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? 1 second.
Maybe we'll find out. Hey, got a good crowd tonight, folks. We will be breaking down. Carlos, if you come more back in, maybe I wasn't coming through because it looks like maybe my mic wasn't plugged in all the way when I was moving around the computer. I'm gonna go ahead and send him a message to see if he's ready to get this show on the road. Let's see. I think that may have been mine because I'm looking at the bars there, folks. Appreciate everybody coming on tonight. We'll go over the 5 biggest games. Plus, we'll do a couple college games. You know, Oregon and USC is a big game. Number 7, number 15. USC with 2 losses. Oregon with 1. And also, you really will throw in. I didn't send this to Carlos, but Oklahoma, Missouri. That's something I want to talk about with Carlos. That may have been on me, Carlos. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. I couldn't hear anything at first. I felt like I was getting
redo
old fast.
Okay. I had maybe the first few minutes of the program was me and mute. I had to undo my microphone and replug it up, and I noticed that the bars are showing on there. So it looks like I'm spitting bars
Nice.
when I wasn't spitting bars. I'll do a quick recap here. Since you came in a little bit behind, I don't want to go over this week again. Brent Venables, we'll start with those college games. I think he's probably the Oklahoma coach. I think he's probably coached himself off the hot seat. I know the media is not saying he was on the hot seat, but technically the guy had 7 losses last year. A few years before that, he had 7 losses. Got John Mater at quarterback now. Big win last week at Oklahoma, at Tennessee the week before that. Got a big game this week in Missouri, but it is at home. Do you think he's coached himself off the hot seat, or do you think he was even on the hot seat?
You know what? It's come down to, I feel like this is the SEC flip-flop. Every time you feel as if a coach is going to do well, he has a bad season, and then all of a sudden he's on the hot seat. Like, can we just need some consistency, man. Like, it's hard to put a coach on that pedestal when at the end of the day, like, he's got to work with what he's got, and it's a tough gig, man. But you can't always be on the hot seat either, man. Like, you have to respect the guy, you have to respect the process, you have to create a culture, you have to be a teacher and
what do you think about his performance this year?
I think he did. I think his coaching was, and his coaching staff did well. I feel as if that they did all they could with the players that they had. Like, I'm not sure they could have got more out of that. I just feel like they don't have as much depth as other teams, So,
Yeah.
And I think that hurt them at the end. Like, I think maybe they got hurt maybe in the transfer portal, not bringing in more people, maybe losing too many people. Depending if you talk about depth and you talk about position for position. So it's tough. It's a tough gig. It's the reason why a lot of guys are getting out, or a lot of guys are moving on. And he's did well with his coaching staff, and I hope that he can keep his coaching staff to make that team better and consistent. But I'm not sure if that's going to be I'm not sure where they are with that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they're going to talk about that until the end of the season. So
yeah, I think he's good to go for another year or two. It's weird the way Texas seems to have their way with Oklahoma. I know that Mater was coming back from that hand injury, and Texas beat them this year. But it's odd. Texas gets smoked last week by Georgia, but Alabama beats Georgia, and this team beats Alabama, not this year, but also last year. It's weird the way certain teams match up with other teams like that, particularly in the college game.
Yeah, and like I feel like what happens too is that we always talk about the bigger schools, the top 5 schools in the conference, and all the big 5 conferences. The top 5 schools are whatever it is, the top three, depending on what conference you're talking about. But with the SEC, it's always like a toss up, right? Like did nobody predicted that Vanderbilt would do what Vanderbilt's doing today. There's nobody. I don't think. I
Yeah.
don't even think Vegas has them as a betting on a betting cycle. Now
Right.
like they're showing their cards and they're showing up and they're playing. Maybe people said that Vanderbilt will have a better year, but nobody expected them to stay in the top 10. So
Yeah.
that, and that's the SEC for you. Maybe even a few years ago, maybe we was talking about Ole Miss coming up. We were talking about Arkansas like moving all the way down. They were supposed to have a good coach. They were supposed to have a good season. Like so, the SEC, and now we've added a few more teams to the mix. So, and we didn't add small teams. The SEC didn't add smaller colleges. They added bigger colleges. So even the small teams
Yeah.
in the SEC, and look, not for nothing, but Florida's not small, and they're having an off year, and so the SEC is crazy. It's the flip flop in the media, because expectations are high. But again,
Yeah.
there there is there are schools, there are coaches that somehow or another, like this situation comes up for them, and it's not good. It's not good for the university. It's not good for the team. It's not good for the players who are maybe wanting to stay a year more. So there needs to be people, and I can't just say Saban's he's the man, like he's what it's about. But these coaches that are in the ACC, like there needs to be more. You got to put a little bit more respect on their name. It's not an easy conference, and you got to give people time, man. You got to give people
Yeah.
that
I'm
do.
surprised that Texas A&M is still undefeated, although they almost got beat last week. Speaking of Vanderbilt, James Franklin had a winning record at Vanderbilt when it was unheard of.
Right.
And, he bounced back pretty good. I think he gave back about 32 million dollars or something like that. Took a $9 million negotiated to buy out now so he could go coach Virginia Tech. I thought that was a good hire, man. I think he could get them potentially in the playoffs. He's a good coach. He's not a great coach.
Right.
And maybe
Yeah.
he's still developing into a great coach. What's your thoughts about that hire at Virginia Tech?
That another Power Five conference, ACC, but with only a few
Yeah.
teams in there that are in the top few. That I'm not sure he can get up to the top in the ACC. It being those bigger schools like Miami having
And
the
Clemson.
fun,
Yeah.
Clemson. These guys. Well, not Clemson in the eight. As far as like
But
um,
they don't look like total just this. I mean, Florida State too.
Florida State, right?
They
So
don't really look like powerhouses.
right.
But it's
So
just
I
one
feel like
year.
I all I know is what you hold on your bridges, because there's gonna be a lot of Penn Staters that are gonna invade Blacksburg next school year, and we'll see what happens with him and what he can do. He'll turn around the program and he'll make it viable, but I'm not sure playoffs. I'm not sure playoffs. Maybe he'll get a bowl game, maybe, but I'm not sure if you didn't get if you couldn't get if him as a coach couldn't pass the ceiling to another level and get Penn State to a championship,
Mm-hmm.
and the conference that he was in with between Ohio State and Michigan. What's the reality of him being able to do that in a conference where Miami and Florida State are the ones who got the bigger NIL deals? I don't. Well, but again, I think he will
Yeah, big.
make.
Now you also got to look at Oregon was very good too.
Yeah, well,
Remember, Oregon and USC is also part of that, and
right.
Washington is very. They were in the national championship just a few years ago. So you got those Pac-12 teams in with the Big Ten's pretty strong. You know, um, I forgot the guy's name now. South Carolina's head coach, his dad. Uh, what's this guy's name? Once I get his name out, I'll be able to say, yeah, Beamer, Frank Beamer, uh, from Virginia Tech. Remember, he had Michael Vick on that team. They played for a national championship back in '99.
But
You know,
that was a
they was
different.
competitive with Miami back in the day when Miami was very good.
I feel like back in the day though, it was very different. Not with
I mean, yeah, it's a
NIL.
different era, but now
Yeah,
it's more of an opportunity with 12 teams.
yeah. I don't think that we as football fans for college football, even though we're looking at the landscape and changing. Like I don't think we can accept that it will be any more different than it was before. You're just letting in a few more teams, but the competition though isn't. It's still like maybe if you can do what Vanderbilt has done this year, maybe if a team can do something like that where they're racking up wins and they're just winning left and right, even the closest games. Maybe you can do that and with that opportunity, but it's going to be very difficult for a team like Virginia Tech to just be like shoot up in the rankings like that in that conference, and I'm not sure Franklin can make that team competitive and then make the right moves. Remember, like you're talking about a coach that is very passive, and
Yeah.
depends a lot on defense and you got to score points, man. This is college football. You got to make it exciting. You got to make it, and you got to want the
Yeah.
players to play on your team to do, making sure you score enough points. And I'm not. I'm hoping that he can get a coaching staff that can get that ready for him. But um, this is
Yeah. We'll
Virginia Tech.
see. Whoever
Yeah,
thought Indiana would do what they're doing, It's hard to
yeah,
tell, man. You just
yeah.
get the right players and things happen.
But 3 years ago, Indiana had very tough games against Michigan State, University of Michigan, and people didn't realize, and it was winning the first quarters of the first half of those games, and people were saying, well, watch out for Indiana next year, watch out for Indiana, and now this year they kind of got up and caught up to the competition. So
Yeah.
it can happen, but it's not going to happen overnight, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years. I thought it was a
Right.
good shot there. Hey, I said, going back to the NFL, I thought Shador Sanders would start this year. It was 5 quarterbacks at one time. One of them was on the IR. Deshaun Watson. You had Kenny Pickett. You had Billy Gabriel, Flacco, and of course Shador Sanders. I said Shador Sanders because the owner likes him, would get a chance to play. Now, of course, obviously Gabriel's out with a concussion. I think he'll get a few games to start here. Not unless he totally lays an egg against the Raiders. I don't think he will. What's your thoughts about that situation with
I'm
Shador getting the start there in Cleveland?
Yeah, I was for him as far as being able to get picked up. I'm not sure that Cleveland was the best spot for him to end up. What a carousel of quarterbacks, though. Um, Listen, and here's the problem too. Like I felt like there were so many guys in front of him that he kind of fell back into well, if I'm not gonna play, it doesn't matter. And what he did on the field last week was like very. I feel like there was very non-Shador Sanders, but it was very the tale of the tale that other scouts and other people were pointing out about him and how he can be, not how he really is. You got to go in there with more vigor, with more like motivated, more. You got to go. You got the opportunity of a lifetime to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he did not win me over. I'm not sure if he won
Oh, you talking
more,
about
but
the patchwork he did with Baltimore?
yeah, I mean, I feel like he just was not. I mean, they could have just put anybody in there if they wanted to, and that's not how you should come out. And I hope that this next game he picks up a little bit. He picks himself up a little bit, and he acts like a quarterback that wants to be in the league because it didn't seem like he was half interested at all in that game. And like and this is like I'm not a Cleveland fan, but this is a team that saw Dylan Gabriel just play football, not play good football, but just be a quarterback in NFL. And then you get Shador Sanders, and he not even playing like a quarterback in the NFL. He playing like a rookie that is in a preseason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like his preseason games were a lot better than his NFL start.
Yeah, I know people say he didn't get a lot of, and that's a valid argument. Brian Baldinger said that it's a valid didn't get a lot of reps with the first string. Uh, Thought he could have looked a little bit better. He did take. He likes to go backwards a lot, which you cannot do in NFL. I hope they stay on him this week. But he was going against the Ravens. That was a healthy Ravens team. There's a good team. Although they had the Ravens beat, their defense is very good. Cleveland is at home. I think he'll get a much better opportunity against the Raiders, even at Vegas with that field the way it is, a faster track. I could see Jerry Jeudy having a decent game, and I think I could see him making some good throws there. They'll have a running game to deal with. It's going to be interesting. This will be a big game. I didn't put it on the list, but because both teams got like 2 wins. But this will be interesting.
Yeah, and I saw the Raiders game last week, and I feel bad for the Raiders. Their defense is actually pretty good. They're just offense is not scoring enough points. They're letting the defense on the field way too long, but they can.
Do you bench Geno Smith at this point for anybody? Not even if it's not Aiden O'Connell. I don't know if he's even healthy yet.
No, I mean,
if they're down in halftime in this game.
I mean, I don't feel like he's been a bad QB. I just don't feel like the things have fallen in his favor. A lot of drop passes, a lot of can you penalties aren't his fault. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
so
he's
like,
slow-footed to get the ball out of his. I've watched a lot of him on Red Zone, man, and he's very slow-footed to make a decision.
Right. I think his confidence. I think what you're talking about is his confidence. I think his confidence is way low. They have two tight ends that are remarkable. They can't get a running game going. I mean, there's a lot of things that sometimes in the flow of the game, the problem is, and the reason why he got let go from a few other teams is that he's not a spark plug, but he is a decent quarterback, and I feel like he could be a lot better. It's just what it is I mean, sometimes I feel like he gets inside of his head too much. Because there's some games you're like, wow, this guy's pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm sure Pete Carroll's thinking, man, what was I thinking? They definitely need a quarterback. If your team like the Titans is probably going to hold one of those high picks, that's a team that I can see the Raiders kind of moving up to get a quarterback with. I mean, they are in desperate need. Aiden O'Connell is very limited. And Geno Smith he's went from a bridge quarterback. I never saw him as a starting quarterback, but I saw him as a bridge. That's why I got this contract. He's went from I think he's back to backup stage.
And to be fair, for the Raiders had a lot of injuries and they had a lot of struggles, and but you gotta score points, man. And the problem is that it can't be every 3 games. Geno got to be more consistent. He got to be more consistent, being better. And I don't know how much of an opportunity that you want to give this guy. I mean, you're paying him. He's getting paid for a guy who's a bridge quarterback, or who even as a starter, the money's there. It's just his performance needed to match up with what he's getting paid. And you know what it's like. It's like watching a Tua. It's the same thing. Some games you're like, wow, this guy, he's next game he's going to be even better.
A lot more accurate quarterback though, but the speed comparison's really close as far as like Geno can't run at all, man. I mean, he can't even hardly get to the sideline. I thought he was a little bit more athletic than that from what I saw of him. But anyways, I noticed the viewers went down to 0 when we started talking about Geno Smith. Do a quick recap. We're rapid fire here. Good call, by the way. You were up. Well, you did win that game, and then I won the Rams game, which was a nail biter. But you won that Charger game, so I'm still up 1. They look like a total. The Chargers. They look like in that game the way they did in the second half of the Houston playoff game last year. They're a team that is still cleaning up from the last general manager's mess of extending guys like Mike Williams, and you already had Keenan Allen extended, and then you throw in giving a safety all the money they gave Derwin James, who's hurt all the time. Now you got a Khalil Mack who's way, way past his prime, and they just look like they played in that game the way I thought they would play in the Steelers game the week before that. A total no-show. Yeah, he's right. Jacksonville showed up ready to play, and these guys didn't have it. And a lot of it is when your line is that bad, offensive line is that bad, and you're 3 and out, your defense finally just gives up, and they're just like, and then you get blowouts like that. And that Harbaugh didn't say that, but that's what you're seeing. They're supposed to get their running back. I don't know if that's going to make any difference. Amari Hamilton. What's your thoughts about that game, man?
Man, I'm gonna tell you something, man, and we talked about this before. This is the same OC that was in Baltimore that hindered Lamar Jackson's improvement. This guy plays like some regular old school
Oh,
football.
the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and I don't understand. They keep hiring in this guy. They don't do anything different, and you got a quarterback who Herbert who can let it rip, and he's throwing little little pickups here and there, and just throwing short, and like he's playing backyard football, trying to get the first down.
Greg
You
Roman.
know,
Yeah.
and
Greg
it's like,
Roman.
come on, he needs to let it rip. He's got wide receivers that he's good with, that he has good, but no, they just trying to this whole running game that's not. It's not a strong running game. The guys are good, but they're not good enough to work from the running game to the air game. So I would work backwards. I would work the air game and then get into running, just to get a little bit of something going. And look, your running game isn't that good anymore because you lost one of the best options that you would have, and not and
Yeah, two
so
tackles, and that left tackle really hurt.
yeah, so go ahead and add another, get a guy off your punt team or your special teams who's over 200 pounds and put him back there with your running back. Like, give your offense an
Yeah,
opportunity,
they're going
man.
to have to run at different angles, kind of like what the Chiefs would do when they have offensive line injuries.
Yeah, like,
They'll
come
run
on,
it
man.
like, and that's something they're going to work on during this bye week. I don't think they're dead, but they're not going to
Right.
get far in the
And,
playoffs.
and, and I think you have to give me a little bit credit because I told you this is one of those games that, as a QB, Trevor Lawrence, he needs to show up and show out, and he did his thing. And he can't. The problem is he can be that quarterback. The problem again, another guy that has like a consistency issue, a mental issue. Like, bro, like you can't be a superstar one day and then 2 day in 2 games mess up, and then the third game be a superstar again. Like,
Yeah,
you got to
he's very inconsistent.
very inconsistent. So, but I had a feeling that he was due for a good game, and this was one of those games, that I felt like this would be like a Trevor Lawrence type game.
What do you think about the other big game there? Seattle, LA Rams. Rams did turn over Sam Darnold 4 times, but it was a 2-point game at the very end. Seattle's up and coming, man. But the Rams, they're pretty sharp. They don't make a lot of mistakes.
Let me tell you, this was like a playoff game.
Hey,
I
Ralph.
mean, it was good all the way to the end. Both teams have something to aspire to and work up to and get better, and I hope they get better. Both teams. I want to see them go deep into the playoffs, and I want to see them be competitive like they can be. And it's going to be a crazy playoff matchup for any of these two teams. I don't think anybody wants to play them, bro. I don't. To be honest with you, they both have decent defenses. They both have offenses that can get score quickly, and it's, man, it was a good game to watch. And I'm just glad that there wasn't like any major injuries. So
Yeah, it was a great game there. Denver upset Kansas City off that bye like that. And my take on that was Kansas City is a team that has been picking since 2018, either 28 or 32nd in the draft. And the fact that they've already paid Mahomes what they paid him, and the fact that Kelsey's been on and off last few years, it's a miracle they've got this far. Without having to retool their team there, and it shows right there. What's your thoughts about that game? Great game there for Denver as a whole, as a team. I don't know something about Bo Nix per se. It makes some big throws at the very end, get that key first down.
Yeah, look, we called that the Chiefs might win this by what, like 3 or something like that. It was a kicking game, right? We both called the Chiefs would win this, right?
Well, I actually thought Kansas City would run away with it. Yeah, Ralph said Seattle and the Rams, it's a dogfight. They're going to play again up in Seattle, I want to say, Ralph, later on this year. And I'm not sure, I might not pick Seattle in that game. That game, you have to study like every single player and go over the injury report. Seattle seems to be better on the road this year than they do at home, and normally it's the other way around with their 12th man up there.
Yeah,
my thoughts on Kansas City, Denver, man. I thought it was a great game. Changing the guard, really.
Yeah, another game. I mean, this game was close for Denver last year. Remember, it was a field goal that the Chiefs won by. Look, I think for one thing, the Chiefs. I don't think they're out of it yet. So much as it that Denver played a better game. They came in a little bit more, with more motivation. They came in with a little bit more vigor, and I feel like, look, everybody talks about how Bo Nix's season ain't going that well. The only thing that Bo Nix is doing is being consistent at being persistent. And which is,
Yeah.
if you're gonna have any kind of consistency as a quarterback,
I said
that
yesterday he reminded me of the 2001 version of Tom Brady. He never gets too high, never really gets too low, and he plays through things. And
yes,
he makes those plays at the very end of the game. You're like, how did he make that play? Remember, he beat Philadelphia with a few throws at the end of the game a few
yeah,
months ago,
yeah. So like, and I'm not
6 weeks
like
ago. Whatever.
I say that I'm not a Bo Nix fan, but I'm not like we talk about it. I'm not like a fanboy of him, but like I like how he's playing the games. I like that he's, even keel. I like that he's bearing the weight of the team and the offense, and he doesn't give up. It's like a Baker Mayfield from the like last year. Like
Yeah.
he's still gonna be in the game no matter what. This year a little bit different story, but like so that game, I thought we both picked Kansas City,
We
but I
both
think
picked Kansas City. You
yeah,
picked it closer than I did. I thought Kansas City would run off with it. They ain't
yeah,
had their bye week. Kansas City comes off their bye week. That's what's really,
yeah, and I feel
really
like
bad for Kansas City.
yeah,
You
and
know,
and
but like you said, it was probably the Super Bowl for Denver, and Kansas
yes,
City looked at it as another game.
yeah, and then I said it'd be more of a kicking game than anything else. Remember I mentioned that.
Yeah, it
So
came down to the end, but
yeah,
really they couldn't get that stop at the end.
yeah,
And quite frankly, Patrick Mahomes and that this drive before that, they didn't do nothing. It's practically a 3-and-out. For
yeah,
Kansas City, they're going to have to get younger. They're going to have to shed loose of Chris Jones eventually, and of course, definitely Travis Kelce,
yeah,
who had a good game and it still wasn't enough. 9 catches, 90 yards, and the touchdown there. But this week they will have Pacheco back for
yeah,
100%, and they're at home.
yeah,
So I think they bounced back. But yeah, I was wrong about them winning at 11-6. I didn't say they was going back to Super Bowl, but now they might not make the playoffs, and it might not be a bad thing. They really need to get a higher pick and retool a little bit. But
oh wow,
the Chiefs don't want to hear that.
yeah. No, I don't.
The
I
Chiefs
think
fans don't want to hear that.
I think the Ravens and the Chiefs are in the same boat, and it's called what's that called? Desperation.
Yeah.
Like, but I think that both will be okay. To be honest with you, they're the two teams with the record and the
Ralph
team
says they're fading. Yeah.
the most balanced on both sides. So
They're
they're
on
the
the 2
most
game losing streak. Yeah.
yeah. So I think both of those teams will be okay and will be in the playoffs. So um, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, but what I hear about them Lions, bro, the Lions be lying, man.
Oh yeah. We could talk about that real quick. I think defensively, you got everything you could out of them. I just think Detroit or Philadelphia's defense just played at a higher level. They're really carrying the Eagles. There is
Mhm.
some talk about uh, some turmoil with the offense there, some internal turmoil with God, Dan Campbell is calling the plays now.
Right.
So Ben Johnson's out of the door. They're trying to figure that offense out. I'm not that down on the Lions. They have some injuries. I think if Sam Laporta's in that game, I think they possibly have a good shot to win that game. I think they did pretty well, all things considered, and I think they'll figure it out. But they're not quite a Super Bowl team yet, not unless everybody's healthy and they get hot down the stretch there. They're in a tough division. They're not even, I think they're in like third place or something in their division. Now it's like one game off. And they got the Bears coming up later on, and they've already beat the Bears once. We'll see how that plays out, per se. But what's your thoughts on the line? You said they're lying. I mean, hey, it's the Eagles, man. The Eagles are very tough.
Yeah. I mean,
They play Green Bay the same way.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest with you though, I would rather not want to hear that it's the Eagles, because at the end of the day, you gotta match that intensity. You gotta match that team, and you gotta play your game. I don't feel like Detroit's playing their game. I feel like they last year, the year before, they went on a run, and they haven't been the same. Losing those two coaches affected them a lot, and they haven't been the same since those two coaches left. So, but I'm not sure what Dan Campbell wants to do. I'm not sure what he has to do to motivate these guys to get them in their heads straight. But I wouldn't bet on them. And if you're a Detroit fan, I'm sorry for you. I'm not sure what else to tell you. But them Eagles, I feel like right now the Eagles are the team to beat for both divisions right now, if you think about it, because
Yeah,
their defense is rated in the top 5, 3, and 1 in different categories, right?
yeah.
Their defense. Their offense hasn't even scored more than 24 points every game average wise, and they still winning games. Like
Well, I think that's going to come to a halt
that's how
this
good their
week.
defense is, though. Think
Yeah,
about
the
that. Like,
defense can only carry you so long. I tell you what, that freaking Jalen Carter is the
oof,
back. I made another point too that um, something I was thinking about. I don't know if I made it on yesterday's show. I got so much in one time. I forgot if I got covered everything. But really, you got to have a young defense, preferably in the NFL.
yeah,
Ideally, you want to have your defense, most of them on rookie contracts,
right.
young, hungry. You may want to re-sign an Aaron Donald type of guy if he's in his prime. They definitely want to sign Jalen Carter when he comes up in a couple years, not unless he's acting up again, which he's kept his nose clean since the Eagles brought him in. But I do think that you want to keep your veterans on offense there, veteran offensive line, maybe one receiver paying, maybe one running back. But then again, those are interchangeable as well. You just don't pay a bunch of safeties and corners. You just can't pay your defense like the Steelers. My man Ralph here. Look at their highest paid defense in NFL, and you never know when they're going to show up, especially
Yeah,
on the road. And I'm sure Ralph would agree. And they're older. I mean, 29, 30, 32, 35. Cameron Hayward didn't practice today, you know? So that's like a theme I'm seeing. Young, hungry defense
yeah.
that's drafted. Look at Denver. They're
Right.
playing great, man.
Yes, yes.
Philadelphia, Quentin
Let me
Mitchell, second-year player.
right. Let's
Stupid
ride on
genius.
this carpet. Let me ride on this carpet ride with you. Listen, you got the Panthers, young defense. Nobody can name the best
They're
defender on that
pretty,
team.
yeah, they're pretty
You know, you
young.
got you got the Buccaneers, but the Buccaneers, they've had 1 or 2 bad games. But I feel like they'll be in the mix.
They
Uh,
have some older players though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and you got like who else? The Jags have a lot more younger players than they have older players on their defense.
Yeah, they do.
The Patriots, like name
All
me
their
three.
guys are young.
Yeah, name me 3 guys in the Patriots that you know from the defensive side besides a cornerback that everybody talks about that hasn't really played because of injuries. Like, come on, like Gonzalez is a great.
Gonzalez is like on his third year. I mean, he's very young.
Yeah,
He's
so
on a
look,
rookie contract.
and I'm going to say another team. I feel like we should talk about the Bears. They
Yeah.
sneaking in. They sneaking in. They're rearing their head, and they're
Now
putting
their whole
together.
team is young,
Yeah, so
but
they
I
got
think I put them in the. Yeah. We could start off there with the games this week. We're a little tight on time here, and we got 7 to cover. The Bears will be playing the Steelers at home. Both of them leading their division. We'll
Yeah.
start the 5 biggest games this week. I always like to make that announcement so I'll know to clip it and put it in there. Pittsburgh will play at Chicago. Wrist injury. Yeah, Ralph, if you're still there, you could chime in for Aaron Rodgers. They did get that win last week against Cincinnati. Rodgers limited this week. Mason Rudolph will be the backup coming in. That being said, Cameron Hayward did not practice today. Defensive tackle for Pittsburgh. Now, on the flip side, the Bears there, Joe Turney, who are the Titans looking at for head coach? Yeah, I'll get to that in just a second. Joe Tooney hasn't practiced for the Bears on that offensive line. So The Bears are 2.5 favorites at home. Really good weather in Chicago this week. Low wind, sunny. I actually like, with all those question marks, if this game were in Heinz Field, Ralph, I'd pick your Steelers. But I actually think the Bears will win this game at home 27-20. Ralph's saying Mason Rudolph will probably be ready. Ralph, who you like in that game? So you chime in. You're a big Pittsburgh guy. I like the Bears to beat them this week in Chicago. You chime in. Carlos, what do you think about that game?
Yeah, man.
It's two
I
division
look.
leaders.
I
The Kings of
was
the North.
yeah, the king of the north. No, I feel like that the Mr. Rogers neighborhood is not as bright as sounds as bright as it can be. It's getting colder there in Wisconsin, but they're not playing. He ain't playing there no more. He's a Steeler now, and it's dark over there in Pittsburgh, man. And I'm not sure that they're gonna be able to shine a light with him not being on the field.
Are you fading out, dude? You're just about to get to your score, and then you're fading out. Can you speak up a little bit?
Yeah, I feel like the Bears are going to take this game as well. I think their offense is starting to click. I think it's going to be about 24-14 because I don't think that the Steelers are going to put many points up.
You think the Bears will win 24-14 in Chicago?
Yeah.
I got the Bears winning too, Ralph. I mean, the Steelers have the ability to win this game. Don't get me wrong. Caleb Williams, a young quarterback. What if T.J. Watt has a game of his life? Possibly. They're always Steelers fans, but I just like the complex and the depth of the offense of this Bears team. And they're coming in with a little bit of swag winning on the road like that at Minnesota. The Bears get this win, but it could go the other way. We'll see. We shall see. Awuku Saki. Let me see. Carolina, San Francisco is actually a pretty big game. Carolina, San Francisco. Carolina won last week. I want to say they're tied. I want to say that it's not. I think they're tied record-wise, but not in standing with Tampa. Carolina playing some good football. Still young and ascending. They have a good game, bad game, good, one of them type of deals. The great comeback against Atlanta last week, came back and won in overtime. But the fact is they won in overtime and they got to go across the country. And San Francisco's the healthiest they've been all season. They played great last week with Brock Purdy. Looked as good. Brock Purdy, he had his Wheaties last week. Let's put the toe injury aside. He saw Mac Jones playing well, and now he's got, of course, what's his name? Jennings, but also the other guy, the receiver they got from Florida there. He's playing pretty well. And, of course, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson ran 107 yards, took a couple of touchdowns on that Carolina defense. Atlanta should have won. That's another topic to talk about. Raheem Morris may be on the hot seat as well with the Falcons as a head coach. All that being said, I like the 49ers to get the home win. They're 7-point favorites, but they got some injuries on defense too. That's not going to come back. I think Carolina will play them well, but it's 24-19, 49ers win at home. Let's see what Ralph says. The Steelers play like they did against Cincinnati. The Bears will be in trouble, 24-17. Ralph picking the Steelers here. Hey, man, we'll see what happens. It'd be nice to see them get a good road win. Hang in there, Ralph. Give us the Carolina-San Francisco score. Go ahead, Carlos.
It's good to see Steeler fans out there still have hope, man. I like it, but I'm not sure it's going to end up that way.
No, Ralph will throw him under the bus. I've had him on the program a few times. He don't pull punches.
I like that spirit of you. But no, listen, I think this game is going to be too close to call, even though it is in San Francisco. I don't think that home team advantage is going to sway in their favor. What's going to happen here is that ground game is going to make that defense tired, and they're going to be going at it. And I don't know if the band being back together is ready for the Carolina Panthers, and they're very motivated. They're very high energy. And you're gonna be seeing a really good game, actually, I think. And this game is gonna be a kicking game more than it is gonna be about offense. And believe it or not, I feel like this game is gonna be like one of those 27-24 games, just a field goal
Who
wins it.
wins?
And I'm gonna go
You
with the
pick
better
San
kick.
Francisco or Carolina?
I'm gonna go with the better kicker, and I feel San Francisco's gonna edge this one out 27-24.
Okay, you're picking the Niners. Okay, I know sometimes you throw loops in there at the end, and I was wanting to make sure
No, don't count
that
the
we were.
Panthers out. Don't count them out. They're gonna put up a fight, and I like that. It's gonna be a good football game.
Oh, they're pretty gritty.
Yeah.
Tampa, your Tampa Bay Bucks, this is just a rough stretch for Tampa. You know, when they got out their bye week, I thought that would be an easy, not somewhat an easy, but a winnable game. They should win. I want to say they were favored a couple of weeks ago against New England. Had a shot to win that game. We watched that game. We both picked New England, or we both picked Tampa. Tampa at home off that bye week, and New England just took advantage of every single opportunity. And then, of course, they went up to Buffalo, would have ticked off Josh Allen and company, 6 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 3 passing. He had 47 fantasy points, Allen did. And now they got to go all the way to the West Coast and play this Ram team at the Rams. And I got this. I want to make sure and credit this guy. Pretty smart guy on Fox Sports, Jason McIntyre, pointed out that Todd Bowles against Matt Stafford, not good for Bowles. 28 points a game. Matt Stafford's 3-1 against that Bowles defense. I like the Rams. I know Tampa's tough. I know they're coming off 2-game losing streak, but this is at LA, 28-23. They, like I said, I'm giving Tampa that punch back. It's going to be a tight 1-score game, but I do like the Rams to get the win, 28-23. Ralph Williams likes that running game with Christian McCaffrey, like I do, going back to that Carolina game.
Yeah.
So I'm picking the Rams. I know the Rams come off that tough game too against Seattle, where they were hanging on by threats, and I was hanging on with. I thought you might have taken the lead. And of course, they missed that 61-yard field goal.
No, here's the thing: football is a funny sport if it's competitive and not bought out by a bunch of mafiosos. But I will say this: that Tampa Bay can rest easy for the last 3 games because they double up on Panthers the last 2 games, and then they play the Saints after this game that they play in Los Angeles.
Yeah, you still got divisional play towards the end, and they match up well with everybody.
Right, and so I feel like this game can make or break their season because they have to win this game to get 10 wins, and the 10 wins is usually what gets you to the playoffs. So I feel like they'll get this game, and I feel like maybe the Rams might even rest a little bit because of what happened last week. So
you think this could be a letdown game for the Rams?
Yes, I'm for sure let down because I feel like if the Bucks come in and score fast, because they usually don't. Usually they get into the 3rd and 4th and then they do. But if they can score first and they score a couple times, I feel like the Rams is gonna be like, you know what, we're all right. We're in the division. We're doing well. We're 8-2. We can let this one slide. If the Tampa Bay can take advantage of the situation, they'll go in playing the Saints next week. Win. Playing the week after that, Panthers win. The week after that, win. They'll be straight into the playoffs. But if they can't do it tomorrow, they can't do it this weekend. It's going to be a longer trip to back.
What's your prediction? What's the score in the Rams game?
This one, I feel like the Bucks are going to beat the Rams 28-14.
They're going to beat the Rams in LA 28-14. Hey, crazier things have happened. You pulled crazy things out of your rear end before when Minnesota beat Detroit, and I didn't see that happening. So I ain't gonna talk you out of it.
No, I'm. You know what? It's time for Baker Mayfield to be the quarterback, the number 1 pick quarterback. He's been beating people.
Oh, they're gonna be ticked. They'll be ready.
Yeah,
Tampa will be ready. That's why I said it'll be a 1-score game.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams might be a little bit tired. They're trying to get everybody back in sync. Stafford's been he's been nonstop great, but he's not he's not 25 years old no more. So I feel like all he needs to do is get hit once or two times by that Bucks defense, and then he's gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna just lay off the gas a little bit in this
Wow.
game, you know. So, and that's where age matters. That's where age will matter, and we'll get to you. I'm
But
sure if he
the
gets
flip
hit,
side is you got to look at Seattle's right. They're breathing right down their neck. They still got to go to Seattle and play them later on this year.
that's what I'm saying. So, are you gonna put all your eggs in one basket and be like, let's?
But I'm saying that's my reason for them not mailing in this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
But
I
we'll
just
see. Tampa's a road dog. I've seen them play well at times on the road and get big wins. They got a big one earlier this year at Houston with
Yep.
Houston's defense. So you just never know. This is a very big game here, bigger than one would think it would be. Philadelphia, Dallas. Dallas looked good with your former Jet there. 1.5 sacks there. Quincy Williams wrecking havoc now, of course, against the Raiders. Go figure. But I will say this: very close game. First game these two teams played, Philadelphia and Dallas. Jalen Carter, this was Spitgate. He got kicked out of the game early. Dallas keeps this game close. Remember, Philadelphia won 24-20. Now, Dallas somewhat fresh off this bye. They did play Monday night. They beat the Raiders on Monday night. They were off their bye week. A lot of times teams play better that second week off the bye week from a passing game. So Dallas is going to play well in this particular game. And then on the flip side, this Eagle team has Lane Johnson, the right tackle. He will be out 4 to 5 weeks here. He's going to be on IR for a little while. Well, Jalen Hurts, 5-9 record without right tackle Lane Johnson. This offense has struggled. They've scored 26 points, the Eagles have, in the last 2 games. And Dallas, listen, they're top 5 offense all year. I have to give it to them. And like I said, with the addition of Quincy Williams, this game being at Dallas, the fact that Jalen Hurts 5-9, and throw in the fact that, hey, the Eagles aren't invincible. They've had 2 airtight games, 2 physical games against Green Bay and, of course, against Detroit. 24-20, the opposite. I like Dallas to get the home win over the Eagles. What's your thoughts about that game?
Yeah, I think the same thing that you're not thinking. I'm
That's
thinking,
cool, man. That's cool.
you know what it
He
is?
was right last week about the Chargers, so go figure.
Yeah, I can't trust Dallas. They got one of the toughest schedules coming out to finish up the season. I'm not sure where they're going to put all their energy and how they're going to play it out. If they play every game play every game and keep it simple, that's still going to hurt them. They're going to be playing fast. I feel like the Eagles are going to probably put more offense on this team because that they feel like they can beat the Dallas Cowboys. And yeah, I see this game being a kicking game anyway. I think they're going to be a kicking game as well because if the Eagles don't score enough or fast enough, they're at least the defense is at least going to keep them in the game. So this is a kicking game, man. This is going to be 32-27, man. This is going to be field
Eagles
goals.
and Dallas.
I'm picking the Eagles to win this, and I think Barkley is going to probably score 2 touchdowns in this game as well. So
Okay.
32-27, man.
32-27. I said 24-20, opposite of week 1. This will be Dallas wins. Okay, almost forgot. Indianapolis, this is the last of the top 5 games of this week. Indianapolis at Kansas City. Kansas City looked very vulnerable last week. Didn't show up as good from the offense and the defensive perspective. I will say this. They are at home this time. They do get more calls, 50-50 calls at home. And Isaiah Pacheco will be back for certain, 100% for Kansas City. The Colts, listen, their last 2 losses were on the road. DeForest Buckner, their big defensive presence, is out. He's on IR. Last game they played when he was out, it was a nail biter. They barely beat the Falcons in Europe somewhere. I can't remember which town that was in. That being said, I do think that opens up just a little bit of running game for Kansas City to squeeze this thing out. Now, listen, the Colts are off a bye week. Maybe they get Jonathan Taylor going and they end up going to Arrowhead and beating Kansas City. I don't think that's going to happen this week, but I do think this will be another nail biter because Kansas City can't destroy people. They're not playing like a team that can destroy anybody, but I do see a bounce back game. 24-23, the Chiefs barely beat a really good Colt, although they're banged up in the middle, Colts team on Sunday. This will be a good one. Pickles was saying on my comments that he thinks the Colts are going to win. That could happen. The Chiefs I do not trust, but I do trust them this particular week. What do you think about that game?
I mean, we're talking about the Colts here, man. I don't trust them like I trust the Detroit Lions. Look, I feel like things have been going their way, and now they got to actually play football.
I just go run and take a jump on them Colts, man.
So I feel like the Chiefs, they got the backs against the wall anyway. They got to climb out of the dark and get back into the light of playoff talk. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna put the beat down on these Colts, man. They're gonna realize that they can't just live off of the record. They got to actually play football now. And look, the Chiefs. And this might be one of those games that's like 27-21, man. I feel like the Chiefs are gonna go out there.
Like Chiefs to win. Okay. All right. I thought we would disagree on that one. To the college game, Oregon's number 7. USC's 15, but they've got 2 losses. Oregon's got 1. Both of them beat Iowa. USC best offense in the Big Ten, actually, yardage wise. But a lot of that's through the passing game. Oregon's strengths is on their back end, and USC, as they have been under any Lincoln Riley team, vulnerable against the run. We saw what Notre Dame did to them. It's a 10-point spread. Listen, the right game plan. Could USC go up there and beat them? I don't know. Indiana did, but I don't think they got that kind of defensive personnel Indiana's got right now. I like Oregon at home to go 30-20 and pretty much eliminate USC from the playoff contention. What's your thoughts about that game? It used to be a really big game back in the day, back when it was Pac-12,
Yeah, and I feel like Oregon in the last 2 years they've had more depth in this USC team, and they can do a little bit more.
That's weird. It used to be the other way around.
Right, they got a little bit more flexibility up there in Duckland, and I feel like the Ducks are gonna ride high. They're gonna fly high, and they're gonna beat up on these Trojans, and it's gonna be a reawakening because USC's got to do something different, man. They can't just try to get by. I feel like they did enough to be competitive, but this Oregon team just feels like it's a little bit deeper. Not to say better, but they just got a little bit more. They got a little bit more guys on the defensive ends, and they got a couple guys on the offensive side that are a little bit quicker. And I think that's just going to be what they need just to get by. I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be 28-24, and I think the Ducks win.
Ducks win. Okay, quackity quack. Since you went to University of Tennessee for a short period, quackity quack. That's probably where game day will be, up in Eugene, Oregon, or they could be in Oklahoma. They're going to play Missouri, by the way. But anyways, since you went to Tennessee for a little while, we want to talk Tennessee, Florida. That's always been a big game for a lot of people to watch the program. It's normally not played this late in the season. Tennessee struggles on the road. I mean, Florida's already fired their head coach there, Billy Napier. But listen, this game, they have beat Texas down in Gainesville. They played Georgia within 4 points in Jacksonville. They were blown out, though, at Kentucky a few weeks ago. I'm talking about Florida. And we know Tennessee, their problems on the road and their problems with teams that their defense is so suspect. I do think that Florida probably – listen, they ain't beat Florida down there since 2003, back when we were in college, man. So I'm thinking 27-23 Florida win the home game. This will be a big psychological booster for Tennessee to win a big road game like this and go 2-2 straight against Florida, which is the first time. I can't remember the last time they beat Florida twice. What, 15, 20 years? Maybe since they won back in 03 and 04. What do you think about that game down in Gainesville?
It's always a trap game. I feel like it's always a trap game when they go visit Florida or they play Florida at home. I mean,
It's in Gainesville. What's your thought?
you would think that they could just go in there and just be ultra competitive and just win out, but they're gonna make it a game. Florida's gonna make it a game.
And Tennessee's technically favored either where 3.5 to 4.5 points.
Right, and it's gonna be that. It's gonna be the 3.5. I would go for the points there and pick Tennessee if you're betting because it's a mess.
You think Tennessee's going to win?
Yeah, I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna barely win, but they're gonna win anyway. It's just so much will ride on the calls that are gonna happen for Florida, the close calls. Are the players gonna play out because they're not even in contention? Is the coaches are they gonna put the team in the right place to make the right calls? Like that to me is what's bothering me about this game. And the history of Florida and Tennessee and the matchup, the rivalry, it's awesome. But this right here for any guy, anybody watching this game, man, it's gonna be a great game, man. It's gonna be too close to call, but it's gonna be a grudge match, and I feel like Tennessee's gonna win this one, but it's gonna be too close.
Well, what's the score again?
Probably one of those games that's like 24-21. Tennessee wins 24-21.
Okay, I got 27-23. I think Florida win at home. Yeah. So we disagree on 3 games this week. You could be up, or I can get a little bit of comfort room. All right, man. Appreciate you coming on. Anything you want to plug real quick?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. The winter meeting is about to start for baseball. I've been watching a lot of basketball. I can't even keep my eyes open anymore. I've been watching a lot of basketball, a lot of hockey. Hockey season's going. Everything's going on. It's a nice time of year for sports. Wrapping up a few seasons here, and the NFL's let me down because my teams aren't doing that well. But at the end of the day, everybody just enjoy the football games, enjoy your sports. Holidays are coming up. Be safe. If you had too much to
I
drink.
Appreciate you saying that. Can you come on next Friday since next Thursday's Thanksgiving? Is that okay? We'll do the show like old days. We'll do it on Friday instead of Thursday because I'll be eating. I'll be too full. And
yeah, man, turkey sandwich. We do a cold turkey sandwich Friday. We'll do it up.
All right, normal time, but it'll be on Friday, folks. And I'm glad you mentioned Thanksgiving because I almost forgot to mention that to you, and I had it in my notes. And,
man, I know you like to celebrate that day, and I know you like your food, so I'll give it to you.
When I'm not eating, I'll be taking a cat nap, and then my mom should give me a whole bunch of stuff to bring home, and that'll be a lot of football. We'll do a little recap of that. We'll give the 5 biggest games coming up, and it's always a big week. So appreciate you. All right, man. You have a happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you Friday in 8 days from now. Thank you, Ralph Williams, and everybody sharing the show there.
Appreciate it, guys.
Heads up there. More football. Ralph Williams and Carlos Mad New York.